Good morning. Today is Saturday, February 28th, the last day of the month, 2026. This is uh, an authentic conversation. I'm sorry, we're having dinging going on and
having to
um,
shut ringers off.
stop.
So,
So, this is an authentic conversation. I am Sonny Hamilton, and I'm here with my co hosts.
Darren Hamilton.
And John Walser.
And we are have quite a bit to talk about today. So we're going to get right into it. Hopefully, this is relevant to what you guys are wanting to hear. And also, it is some of it uplifting so that we're not all negative. We're trying.
We're trying to bring a little bit more positive in. It's sometimes it's a little challenging in this world
It
to find
is.
the positive, but it does exist.
It
And
does exist.
so one of the things that we wanted to start with was the fact that the hockey teams, U.S. hockey teams, did amazing, and it's I guess the thing that I appreciate, one of the things that I appreciate about the hockey teams, I wish there was a way that I could have seen as to what all competitions had because we heard there was, those who weren't proud of their countries.
Oh,
And
some of the athletes?
yeah, some of
Yeah.
the athletes that weren't
Yeah.
proud of their country.
But Alyssa Liu was really proud of the country.
Yeah, I can believe, and she did
Yeah.
amazing.
She did amazing. She got gold.
And I guess that's from the way my brain works. That's kind of what I would like to have seen as to how well those people who, I don't know how you compete for a country and win gold if you're not proud of your country, because
But the U.S. men's hockey team was
yeah,
very proud.
yeah. And I bet I never saw anything about it, but I bet the women's hockey team was also proud. It's just, it just seems like hockey players have a kind of a different mentality probably than a lot of the other type of sports that are competing. But anyway, it's 46 years since U.S. hockey team had won gold.
The men's team.
Yeah, men's team. So that's
That was,
pretty impressive.
yes. And they won against our rival, Canada.
Canada, yeah. Yeah, hail Canada. So anyway, that was, I don't know, it just feels kind of noteworthy to give them a little push, and just to see that guy, what was his name? Jack Hughes.
Yeah, he suffered a high stick tooth injury, and I'm assuming, Canada, as with most teams, they want to take out the main player.
He's the
And
captain. He was the captain.
yeah, so anyway, he suffered chipped and fractured teeth, and he continued playing with a bloody mouth. And he did score the winning goal over Canada in overtime. So the other thing that they did that was really amazing is the men's hockey team. They honored their teammate who was supposed to be on the team. He was had practiced really hard, and he was supposed to be on the team, but his name was Johnny Gaudreau, and they held up his jersey, number 13, and they brought his children out on the ice during the celebration. Um, and the reason why this was significant is because Johnny was riding his bike with his brother, Matty, in New Jersey on August 29th in 2024 when they were both struck by an alleged drunk driver, and both of them died later at the hospital that same day.
Wow.
So, as it turns out, in that particular situation, is that a SUV went around them, and somebody decided, oh, he's going too slow, and the drunk driver just rammed right into him. They were on the side, so they were fine. It's just this person decided to go on the shoulder and go and just hit him.
Oh,
Killed
dang.
them both.
I always
So,
kind of have nightmares about that when I'm driving down the road at night because I've had some close calls with people wearing dark clothes and stuff on the side. I mean, this probably wasn't that kind of
no, it was
situation,
during the day.
but she
So,
was
I was
drunk.
just I was just gonna say, as a professional driver that's on the road every day, um, I see some really weird stuff.
Oh, I bet.
I bet you
People
do.
will dodge right in front of a 102,000 pound truck
Yeah.
and not even think twice about it.
Yeah.
Or slam
Just
on their
just to get
brakes.
off the next exit,
Yeah.
200 feet away.
Right.
Save a second and
Yeah.
risk their lives and
Yep.
yours.
Yep,
I guess in your truck, it's probably going to be their life more than likely, but
it would be.
yeah.
Yeah, most likely.
Yep.
So the other significant thing that has come up in the past week or so was that Democrats have said that we shouldn't pass. It did pass in the House, but it's gone to the Senate. And on the Senate side, they don't want to pass the SAVE Act. And the reason why is because Chuck Schumer.
Tell us what this SAVE Act is.
Okay, the SAVE Act is ID for voting.
Voter ID. Okay.
Voter ID, yeah. And it's something that was it's something that we've had in our country for decades. Is you had to go in and show your ID. Well, there's 37 states that actually have voter ID requirements, and the rest do not. So
Idaho's one of them.
that they do not require it, or they do.
No, they do.
Okay, I thought they probably
do.
would.
Yep.
And it wouldn't surprise me if Washington and California, Oregon, and then all the East Coast are the ones who are, and a few scattered in between, probably Minneapolis or Minnesota,
Right.
excuse me. But probably some of those really blue states are the ones that are don't have voter ID requirements. So
It's probably the I-5 corridor, mainly just the blue areas.
yeah. So
It's almost hard to
there-
respect our elections just from the standpoint, the more you see how much corruption, absolute corruption there is.
yeah, no, that's true. So with the SAVE Act, Democrats say that Black people are not smart enough to know how to go get an ID, and that women who get married are unable to figure out how to get their names changed, and it's just too much work and it is too costly for them to go get an ID. So, an ID is required. Darren and I talked about this, is that we figured out a lot of things, what an ID is required to do. And John, jump in if we missed something here, is we found out that in order to purchase liquor, cigarettes, to get cash for recycling aluminum.
That made us both laugh. We took a load of scrap wire because my grandpa, he was an electrician. So we've had, I've been separating out all the piles of scrap. And so we took a bunch of scrap down to the scrap iron place.
And we had to show ID.
You had to show, even if it was just a load of aluminum cans, you have to show ID to recycle aluminum cans. So it's like
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, we didn't have cans, but we
No.
just had aluminum, so we don't have that experience yet. But I'm not sure about Washington if they require that.
I don't know either.
But this was Idaho that we went to,
Yeah.
and Idaho did require it. So, and that was Lewiston.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was Lewiston.
Lewiston. And so that's one thing. Then if you need to get on government assistance, you got to have an ID. You got to prove who you are. Although some blue states, obviously, they don't require people to have ID, but for the most part,
Well, a lot of the guys have ID. a lot of the Mexican guys have ID. It's just not their ID.
Right. And then to get a payout on a jackpot, if you're if you win big
At the casino.
at the casino, you have to have ID. To get a loan, you got to have ID. To get a job, for most jobs, you have to have an ID. To rent a car, to rent a hotel room, or to get college tuition loans or grants or scholarships. Anything else that we missed that you can think of, John?
I mean, the list goes on.
It
Yeah, it's an
does.
endless list.
It's
It's
a
a
endless list.
ridiculous argument because it's an endless
Right,
list.
right.
You literally can't do anything
Without an ID.
without. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll say this. I've got a friend who's basically homeless in California, and I saw a while back that he was making a little bit of money when he took plastics and aluminum in. Well, I don't know about down there, but here you would have had to show ID. So even
Yeah.
you can't even survive as a homeless person
Yeah.
if you don't have ID. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Now aluminum cans, that might be a little bit different, but I don't know. Now the gentleman, can't think of his name, here in our local little county, who collects,
oh yeah, Billy.
yeah, Billy. So he collects aluminum cans and turns them in and gets a little money.
Yeah,
So I don't know
he's a
if
disabled guy.
yeah, and he probably has some sort of ID.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Regardless of whether it's a driver's license or just a regular ID, because you can get a regular ID without getting a driver's license. So, anyway, we don't see where there's a big problem to get an ID to vote, because it shouldn't be any different. In fact, it should be more sacred than anything else, is to make a decision in this country about our laws, and who we elect should be up to us as Americans.
And realistically, if you're not smart enough to get an ID, you probably shouldn't be making
Yes,
decisions to run
exactly.
the state or the country.
Right.
So, better yet, why don't we just get rid of all the governments and go back to the 10 Commandments, and then we don't have to worry about it?
Yeah, unfortunately, people can't self-govern very well, but we'll be a whole lot better off if we did get rid of the government.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, so the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because it just was perfect. Perfect timing with the Democrats' argument. I can't speak for Black people, although I will venture to say that 99% of them have an ID or know how to get an ID. Now, they may have gotten it revoked. So I'm not saying just Black people, but anybody could have their ID revoked for whatever, a variety of reasons. But
Not their ID. They wouldn't have their ID revoked, but their driver's license might be revoked. But like you were saying, they can still get.
yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Driver's license could be revoked. But anyway, so I wanted to talk, but I can talk about married women, because Darren and I got married in April of 2025, and the Democrats talk about how you have to go out and get it done right away, and how expensive it is, and it's so time consuming and so hard. And so I actually didn't get around to doing it until this month, February of 2026. That's on me. That's not on anybody else. I just didn't get around to doing it. So it felt like perfect timing. I felt like that, things happen for a reason. I didn't get around to doing it till now because of all of their arguments. So this is perfect. So I wanted to tell you about the process, because those of you who are don't know, or are possibly arguing on the side of Democrats about how expensive it is, then listen up. This is for you. So I went to, or how inconvenient it is. I just want to stress this, is that it is not. So I went to Social Security Administration and I completed a form to change my name to my married name. And there was no charge to do this. And it took about 15 minutes from the time I walked through the door until I got my receipt and walked back out the door. And my new Social Security card will be mailed to me in about 7 to 10 days. So this just happened this past week. So then I had to wait 24 hours because Washington DMV said that their system does not update until overnight. So I went the next day to the Washington DMV and I chose to get the enhanced driver's license. And since I already had a driver's license and all I had to do was change my name, the cost to get an enhanced driver's license, and if anybody doesn't know what the enhanced driver's license is it gives you the ability to get onto a plane um, here in the United States. It's probably not what you're going to use if you're going to fly out of country. You need a passport.
I think you can drive across into Canada with it too.
Probably, but you still should have your passport,
Yeah.
even if you just drive across to Canada or Mexico. But anyway, so there was no charge to do. Wait a minute, DMV. There was a charge. It was $21.50. That's it. So I took my marriage certificate and my birth certificate and gave them to the previous and gave them my previous driver's license, and it took about 10 minutes. And then I walked out the door. I don't have my ID yet. It will be sent to me, and it'll be here in about 2 weeks. Now, if I got the standard driver's license, not the enhanced, then I would have had it much sooner. I probably would have walked out with it that day.
They have to do another background check.
On the standard one, it's not a big deal, but yeah, on the enhanced, they have to do a background check. So that's why it takes a little bit longer. But if I had gotten a standard, then it would have been just, a lot quicker and cheaper. So if I had gotten a standard driver's license, the cost would have been $10. So, all total, the cost to get a copy of my marriage certificate and to get my license changed to my new name and to go to Social Security, the total cost would have been $13.
Wow.
$13. That's it. But I chose also to go to the U.S. Post Office, and I took my passport with me, and in case I want to travel out of the country. And I had to fill out a form, and then they took my passport picture, and then I gave them my marriage certificate, and they mailed that form, my marriage certificate, and my previous passport to the National Passport Processing Center. And because it was less than a year from the date of issuance of my passport, and I'm not traveling out of the country anytime soon, I didn't need it expedited, so I didn't have to pay the extra cost. Therefore, the total charge for the updated passport was $0. There was $0 on that. But what I did have to pay was the U.S. Postal Service shipping cost, which was $12.50. And then I'll have my new passport in about a month or less. So like I said, in total, to get my name changed, if I had just got an updated driver's license without the enhanced and going to get a copy of my marriage certificate, going to Social Security, those three things right there would have been $13. $13. Okay, so from state to state, it might be a little bit more, but I can
Or
say
less.
or less, yeah. But here we are in a blue state, so I'm guessing in some red states it might be cheaper, but I mean that's pretty cheap. but if you're going to get an enhanced, of course, it's a little bit more, but it's still not tremendous. So I wanted to show in comparison to that, I wanted to talk about um, what if say you went to Starbucks and you decide to get a caramel frappuccino, it's $6.95. And then if you got a slice of iced lemon loaf, that's $5.55. And that's a total of $12.50, not including tax. So probably closer to $13. One trip would be the same cost as going to get my ID, going to uh, the courthouse to get my marriage certificate, going to Social Security to change my name, and then going to DMV. It's not that difficult. I call BS on Democrats.
If they don't have the $13 or whatever it was, there again, they probably don't have a job.
Probably.
And so they've got time.
Yeah.
So time is not really of the essence.
Right, exactly.
And if you're not, there again, kind of on my first comment, if you're not savvy enough to be able with money to be able to save up $13 if it's important to you, then you probably shouldn't be.
voting.
Yeah, because we already have enough government officials that don't know how to be wise with money.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say you could probably get $13 worth of cans.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they could go.
You know?
They could go pull cans out of the dumpsters.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yes.
So I can't speak for all women, of course, but since Democrats are saying this is too expensive, again, I call BS on them. And I can only presume that they are talking because every conservative that I've talked about or talked to or listened to has said it's not difficult to do. So I can only presume that they are talking, the Democrats in Congress, are saying that it is liberal Democrats who don't have the smarts to go do this. That's pretty demeaning. That's really, really demeaning.
It's really self-defeating.
It's racist.
We were listening to a YouTuber, watching a YouTuber, and this obviously young liberal gal was making the argument of the money thing, and so the YouTuber pointed out the fact that she had iPods in her ear, she had nose ring, nose piercing, she had nice clothes, she's
had a nice bag.
She's on a college campus, and so the money argument's not real. The time argument's not real. None of the arguments are real.
So all total, it probably took about maybe half an hour for me to get everything I needed to go get my name changed.
It took us longer to get to the towns just because we choose to live.
Yeah, we live out of town. So the people who live in town, I guarantee you don't have to go that far, but in the cities. But we live in the country. So because we live in the country, we have to drive further. Okay, so if there is somebody who's out in the country and they have to drive further, okay, I get that. Save up a little bit of money for the gas, or go ask one of your rich Democrat leaders for some money because they have plenty. But anyway, that's my argument. So I'm just saying I call total double BS on them, because unless somebody is incredibly ignorant, this process is painless and extremely cheap. So that's what I have to say. So,
do you have anything else, John? You were saying that you had something on the SAVE Act.
yeah.
Actually, it's all been pretty well covered.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So I guess then we'll move into I mean, the State of the Union was kind of a big deal. I mean, even
It was.
even for me not being a real political enthusiast, it was uh, it was fun to watch. I enjoyed watching it.
And we had, I won't say who it was, but we had another woman here, and she's not into politics, but
She groaned. She
she,
groaned when
yeah, when we
we
talked about
said
what
that
we
we
were
were going to
gonna,
watch it.
but she sat there and was quite entertained. She actually was like, "Wow, that was kind of entertaining." um, and so we found that kind of funny. Is we were like, "Well, we really need to watch this because John and Darren and I all talked about if we're going to cover this, we really need to watch it. We can't just say, "Oh, hey, that happened." So,
Well, and pretty much, I mean, my reason for wanting to watch it that night was because I knew that when I would listen to stuff working the next day on YouTube, that there was going to be a lot of stuff covered, and I kind of wanted to know as to what they were talking about. But it
mhm,
it was really interesting. I suppose if you're a Democrat, you probably hated the speech because it it was very telling.
it
It
was.
it it
So
showed it forced everybody to show which side of the aisle they were on.
it really did. Well, and who they stood for.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to this a little bit. Is that a YouTube podcaster that Darren and I watched? She went around to college campuses, and this was another one, not the same one that he was talking about, a different one. I think it's the same podcaster, but a different um,
Episode.
video. Yeah. So she went on Monday, February 23rd, to college campuses. And so she asked students what they thought of the State of the Union address. And all but one, and she asked quite a number of students, but all but one said they rated the speech at 1 or 2, even though it hadn't yet occurred.
Hadn't even occurred yet.
So one student who was actually had enough brains to say, "I thought that was tomorrow." And she's like, "Yay, you passed." Because that's everybody else was like, "No, it's about a 1 or 2." It's like, serious? It hasn't even occurred. How can you rate it a 1 or 2 without watching it?
So the same people that are griping about not being able to get IDs don't even know when the speech happened.
Yeah. So anyway, some of these students are so messed up by Democrats they can't even think for themselves, and they seem really afraid to go out and do their own research, which is really strange, but that's really what it is. If this podcaster asked them a question, they shut down immediately. "Oh, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. No, 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 I don't want to talk anymore. No, I'm done." And they walk away because they have no argument. They have nothing that they can say, and it's really sad. But anyway,
Trump is a racist.
yeah, that's they just repeat the same talking points that Democrats say all the time, and so
I'm going to say the one disturbing thing that I saw with the speech that I think's important because there was obviously very little unity between the two sides, but the one subject where there was some unity was on Israel, protecting Israel. And I obviously have my issues with the whole Israel thing, but it's just disturbing to me to think that the same people running our country that stay seated when Trump is asking them about protecting our people.
well, like he even so I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to say is that he was addressing the angel families, the families who have lost family members who were murdered by illegal criminal aliens. And what do you think Democrats did? They sat. They did not clap. There was a there was one who clapped
Yeah.
and stood for some things, and that's um
Fetterman.
John
John Fetterman.
Fetterman. Yep. But so Trump honored the mother of um, Irina Zarutska. She's the one that was from Ukraine and came to the U.S. for a better life. And she was murdered by an illegal alien criminal in North Carolina on a train on August 22nd, 2025. And Democrats wouldn't even stand for those people.
It was genius what he did in calling them out.
Yeah.
But
Because anybody who is watching this went, wait a minute, serious? You won't even, and people who were moderates or people who were independents or these are the people who were, the people who were left leaning, way, way, way left, and who are just already psychotic. They didn't get it. So, I mean, to them, anything is it doesn't matter. But the moderates, they saw through, and it woke a lot of people up, a lot of people up.
yeah, I think it did.
And Trump honored 2 military servicemen with the Congressional Medal of Honor for their extraordinary acts of valor. One of them, you want to talk about one and I can talk about the other? Or the first one was retired Navy Captain Royce Williams for his heroism during the previously classified dogfight in 1952 against Soviets. And also he fought in Korea.
Yeah, the other guy that we were going to mention was the Chief Warrant Officer Eric Sliver. I don't know if you say it Sliver or Sliver, for his heroism during the high stakes mission to capture the Venezuelan leader, Nicolas Maduro. And I think one of the things that I want to bring out on that even some of these other people that he honored, just like that National Guardsman that was shot and the one that was wounded, we didn't even really, there was no coverage on like this Eric Sliver. There was no coverage on what his injuries were. And
it might have been Silver. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Maybe you did a typo.
I may have done a typo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, our bad if we did.
Yeah, if we did, our bad. Yeah, it's not being offensive. We just, I probably didn't. I don't remember what it was, but anyway.
But it's amazing to think of the injuries that those people sustained and how miraculous really this guy who was very instrumental in the capture of Maduro.
So he was flying a helicopter.
Yeah.
And he was, his helicopter and he was struck multiple times in the legs.
He was struck multiple times, but the helicopter struck multiple times.
Yes. And he got struck multiple times in the legs and he kept flying. And it was when they were finally coming back and he turned to the co-captain or whatever they are. I don't remember.
Co-pilot. We'll say co-pilot.
Yeah, co-pilot. Thank you. He turned to the co-pilot and says, "You better take over because I'm about ready to pass out."
But he had turned the helicopter around. Bear in mind, this helicopter is carrying what, 80 soldiers? It's a huge helicopter carrying a lot of soldiers. So that story could have ended much different in 80 casualties. But it still gives me goosebumps. But he turned that helicopter around. He had the presence of mind to turn that helicopter
even though
around.
He was bleeding profusely.
Even though he's bleeding profusely through his legs, and your legs are required in operating a helicopter. And he turned that helicopter around to take out the machine gun people that were
shooting him,
shoot them down.
And it was a successful,
very successful.
Yeah, because of this man. And the co-pilot was also injured, not as severely though, but I think that he was going to be honored with some sort of a medal as well. Um, and so those were really significant and made you so proud. I don't know how anybody couldn't have been proud to say, "Oh my gosh, you did that?" You know, and they had a four-star general come up and give them this. One of
That
them,
the
got was the four-star general that came and gave him the uh, uh,
Congressional Medal of Honor
Congressional Medal of Honor, and the other one,
got a Purple Heart.
no, the other one was the First Lady, Melania,
Oh yeah, yeah.
gave it to the one that's not he's retired, right? So
Oh yeah.
she gave it to him. And there were people who got a Purple Heart. Yes, it was. In fact, the guardsman. Okay, the guardsman that was shot in the head, and the other one was killed.
Yeah,
They
in
both got
DC, I
a
think it was,
yeah
wasn't it?
DC,
DC.
and so by guess who? An illegal alien. Um. So anyway, then the other thing that happened was that Darren's already touched on, and I think John has talked on this too, is that Trump asked everyone on both sides of the aisle to stand who believes that the U.S. government's first duty is to protect American citizens over illegal aliens. And
Yeah.
who stood? Republicans stood, and Democrats sat. And that was terrible. In fact, there was shouting happening. But this was something that I believe that as Americans, a lot of us are visual, and we saw that. We saw it, and we said, "You've got to be kidding."
The level of disrespect that you saw on some of those
Their
people's
faces.
faces, just to think that they're representing our country. I guess even going back to the first thing I said, basically about the Olympians. If you're representing our country, you should probably be proud of our country and support the wins, support the good. And I guess just to finish my thought, even in regards to why it's more important for some of those people to protect the state of Israel than it is to care about protecting our own citizens.
Yeah.
That should be extremely disturbing to all of us.
And in addition, about half of the Democratic legislators decided not to attend. And so they went and attended a separate event with people dressed up in frog costumes.
I knew there was some separate.
It was actually hilarious. It's like,
I didn't even see the pictures.
yeah, I watched it. It was just ridiculous. But anyway, that was just one. There was some that it's like, oh, you've got to be kidding. That is so ridiculous. But anyway, I think that was Oregon. But those that were there, they did not stand for that. Oops, we just lost John.
Oh,
We lost his
I'm sorry.
visual.
I'm trying to find it.
Okay, we'll let you keep trying, and he's there on phone still. So he's sitting remotely today. So then the Democrats just seem like they're completely and extremely out of control with modern Democrat Socialist party, and they're no longer the party of moderates. They're not at all.
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody looking at their behavior, but maybe that's just
Maybe
because
that's
I
just
don't.
because you're looking at it from a common sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just can't imagine their disrespect.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I don't like out here in this world, and I'm okay with speaking up against them. Just like the Israel thing. I know that's not a very popular opinion with some politicians and religious people, but it's still I don't know. I just have an issue with how the Democrats are treating our country.
Yeah, no, I agree. Ilhan Omar was just, she was caught just shouting very disrespectfully during the State of the Union address, along with Rashida Tlaib. And
Fortunately, Trump can out yell him because he had a speaker.
yeah, you could see that the Speaker of the House was ready to start. He had the microphone up and he was going to interrupt, but
But
he
he
didn't
couldn't get
have
a word
to
in. He couldn't get a word in
because
edgewise either.
Trump just got louder. It didn't matter. He just over talked him. And Al Green made it. He made an absolute spectacle of himself, and he got escorted out of the chambers.
Do we know where he's from? Because I don't even recognize that name.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, it
I
doesn't
don't remember
matter.
which state he's from. I'd have to look it up. And John Fetterman is the only Democrat, and he's from Pennsylvania, is the only Democrat that actually stood or clapped for many of the honors that Trump mentioned. And I think we can safely say that he is by far the one remaining moderate Democrat and any modicum of common sense remaining in the U.S. Congress or U.S. House of Representatives. There's nobody left. They're all gone. Some of those people who sat on the Democrat side, you could see they were kind of looking around like, I wonder if I can stand. And you could see they're looking at their other people, and people are like, don't you stand? You could almost see that being said so they just sat. I have a feeling some of them wanted to stand, but they were afraid to stand.
Yeah, I think there probably is a lot of fear
And
involved there.
so I think that is probably part of it but just that in itself, John Fetterman wasn't afraid. He just did whatever he's going to do. These other people were too afraid. Um,
So let me jump in here really quick before it gets too far past. Q post. So remember, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but in the Q post, there's Pepe the Frog. And we were just talking about a frog here a minute ago, right?
Yep.
in the post, what are we talking about?
And a Q post.
Oh, Q post. Okay, gotcha.
Yep. This
Okay.
was posted February 14th of 2019, and it has a picture of Pepe the Frog. And what did President Trump talk about in the State of the Union? Winning, winning, winning.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, mind you, like I said, this is 2018. Winning bigly. And how? Credit to Anons who deciphered Red and Green Castle. Why must we communicate this way? Think NatSec laws. So if we don't think this isn't an operation,
Gotcha. Yeah.
It
Yep.
is an operation.
Yeah, it is.
it's a
all
huge operation.
Right.
It's the largest operation in the world.
Right. And we are
Yep.
truly in a information war.
Yes.
The big
We are.
buzzword now is PSYOP.
Yeah,
And I think we are in a huge PSYOP.
we are.
Psychological operation.
And so with that leads us into the infamous Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC. She made a complete fool of herself in Berlin, Germany, earlier this month when she claimed that Venezuela is south of the equator. Okay. She obviously doesn't know her geography, which is extremely important when someone who's in the U.S. House of Representatives and trying to showcase her foreign policy knowledge. Not a good look, AOC. not a good look. And she was recorded. She recorded herself whispering and talking about it wasn't my fault. And her thing, you could hear somebody snoring in the background. And she's like, it wasn't my fault. And it's, if you listen to Donald J. Trump, blah, 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 blah. And it was all this whisper. And okay, I'm not exaggerating too much.
I can
I'm
see that
hardly
part.
exaggerating because it was pretty much the same thing. She's sitting there and you're like going, you are making yourself looking so incredibly stupid right now.
Oh, shoot.
So Democrats made a huge mistake on Tuesday.
Yeah.
They
But-
really
Yep.
did.
Yeah, I think most of us are going to agree that that was
Yeah.
that was a huge mistake. It'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see the midterms.
Yep.
It will cost them the midterms.
Yep.
I mean,
So what we're seeing for you, John, is the QR code, but so I'm going to go ahead and well, we'll just leave it there. I guess it's no big deal. We'll just leave it.
Yeah, I apologize. Something happened on this end. I was searching for something, and I think I'm the one that.
Knocked yourself
that
out. Okay.
So, but anyway, I'm still here, voice.
so,
yeah, yeah. So
it's a challenge
anyway,
of us technologically challenged
challenge
people.
right? So now, yeah, I think it's going to hurt them in the midterms, as we just talked about. We really did think that is they're pathetic and trying to explain it, trying to explain why they boycotted or for not standing. After the fact, it's too late. Sorry, it's too late. We are
Yep.
visual people. We saw and heard clearly what Democrats said is that Americans are worthless. Period. We do not matter. We do not matter. The only ones that matter are illegal aliens. And the reason why is because they need illegal aliens to vote, because there is a mass exodus of Black people
Even Mexicans.
and even, well, yeah, a lot of Mexicans, but the Black people who they have counted on for decades to vote Democrat are fleeing, not necessarily to the Republican Party. Some of them are going to independent, but many of them are coming to the Republican Party. But I won't say all, because some of them are, just going to the moderate independent side, and that's fine too. But the point is, they see it. And so if you go back to the 13th Amendment in 1865, Republicans in Congress, with a strong backing from President Lincoln, pushed through the amendment that permanently abolished slavery throughout the United States. It passed the House on January 31st, 1865, and was ratified later that year. And a little known fact that people may not know is that President Lincoln was assassinated by a Democrat later on in that year, 1865. Obviously, Democrats in the South hated President Lincoln almost as much as modern day Democrat socialists hate President Trump.
Well, there again, they were hating him because he was taking their slaves away.
He
the
was taking their
slavery thing
slave,
away.
right.
And Democrats are hating Trump because he's taken the I don't even know how to make sense of it, because
Yeah.
he's not even. And I work with Mexicans that are both legal and illegal. A lot of them are illegal, and most of them are really good guys. And so I'm a little twisted on this issue, because I have a certain level of compassion for them. I would probably rather be putting because I don't think they're costing us as much as like the Somalians are costing us with all the fraud.
Because yeah,
And
yeah,
so I
because
would
a lot of these Somali people are living on welfare.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean the
Living in
Mexicans
really
they're
nice
at least here
houses.
working. I mean a
Yeah.
lot of them, yes, there's illegal stuff that they're doing and yes, they're here illegally, but they're not they're here working. I mean most of them are here working and they're not committing the millions in fraud, a small group of them. Yes, they're costing us millions in healthcare and having their
Mhm.
babies
Yes, they are, because
and all
their
that stuff.
employers are not going to provide health care for them.
You know,
Right?
they don't. No, they don't
Yeah.
need to, and they're paying,
So
but they're also paying into Social Security that they will never. But
because it's somebody else's social
it's
security
somebody
number.
else's
Yeah,
Social Security number, and
exactly.
so the government, the
So that's
politicians
fraud.
actually kind of
That's
like them.
fraud.
Yeah, it is fraud, but
Yeah.
they're not pulling it out.
I mean, if it was
They're paying it in.
but if it was your dad or your mom's social security number they were using, that would be a little upsetting.
I would actually be okay if they were using mine because then
No,
I would
yours.
get because then I would get more Social Security. when
No,
I
but I'm
retired.
talking about dead people. They're
Yeah,
not
no.
using live peoples. They're using dead peoples and letting these people. So they're
Right,
taking over. Yeah.
right,
So
but
so Black American voters are referring, and we've seen this past week, as Black American voters are referring to their Democrat Party as the plantation, referring to rich Democrats in the South who owned black slaves during the Civil War, and those rich white people who fought on the Confederate side to keep their slaves. So the Black Americans are the people whose ancestors fought to be free, and they are now acknowledging that a lot of the people who fought to free the slaves were white Republican people, and some of them possibly our ancestors.
yeah, we've
Um,
got one buried in Endicott here.
and they lost their lives during the Civil War fighting to end slavery. And I know I didn't. I'm sure you didn't have rich ancestors. So it's not surprising that our ancestors were, and maybe, not our direct ones, but maybe your ancestors. Somebody was fighting on the Union Party during the Civil War. Um, Hashtag Walkaway was founded by Brandon Straka in 2018 to encourage people to abandon the divisive tenets of the Democrat Party. And hashtag Walkaway is heavily trending again after the Democrats' despicable behavior at the State of the Union address. And there are a crazy number of Black Americans speaking out with frustration after the State of the Union address. They realize now that Democrats are not for Americans. And that's really upsetting when you stop and think about it, right?
They're starting to recognize that they've been used.
Right. They've been used by Democrats, right? So, and again, they're not all leaving for the Republican Party. Some of them are going to independent. Some of them are going to Republican. We've heard more say they are now a conservative. And it's like, wow, okay. So I have a question is, would you hire someone who hates animals to take care of your cat or dog while you're gone?
Yeah, no, nobody would.
No, the clear answer is no. So why would we elect someone who hates America or hates Americans?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, there's none of it. There's none of the stuff that makes any sense when you really look at it. They're again
Right.
through common sense.
So there are liberal women and beta men out on TikTok in complete and uncontrollable raging meltdowns and showing that they have clearly lost their minds. They are clearly very well aware that their party is losing in a big way. And they're really upset. And I can understand why, because their party is abandoning them. They just haven't figured it out yet. But
I think they just have they
So-
must just have a loyalty there that, well, we've always been Democrats. So how do we, I mean,
how do we
break
it's like
free?
We
Yeah,
can't.
leaving your firstborn behind
Yeah.
type of thing. So it would be really
So
disturbing.
they're screaming and crying and bugging their eyes out, and they screw up their faces that they almost unrecognizable as a human being. And those of us with an ounce of common sense, we're all absolutely appalled, and we would actually be laughing at how hysterically if it weren't for the fact that we can see that they're absolutely emotionally unstable. And so actually we need to pity them. Um,
So something else that needs to be said, because I think it was a video two ago, we were talking about, like rejection and being judged and that kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
So here you have a president that is almost 80 years old, and he walks into a room knowing full well that at least half of that room hates his guts. Some of them even want him dead, probably.
oh, I'm sure.
And to see the calm, cool, collected, uh,
Mouthy.
No, President.
Yeah.
um, how poignant and how I don't know any other word to use, but just elegant that he pulled off that State of the Union address
Mm-hmm.
in front of people that hated his guts
Right.
I heard
was
I heard somebody say too, it was the longest State of the Union address, but he
And he beat his record, his previous record.
yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah,
that was predictable, but
yeah,
he did it flawless.
He
He didn't
did.
he
have
did.
stumbles. He didn't,
No.
for an 80-year-old dude to stand up there for that long and keep his composure. And I mean,
Yep.
it is. He's kind of a freak of nature. Love him or hate him, he's a freak of nature.
He's amazing. Whether you like him or not, whether you agree with everything or not, he is actually amazing. So Black American men who are citizens of the U.S. are posting in droves on TikTok, YouTube, etc. That they are going from the Democrat Party. Black American women who are also citizens are posting in significant numbers that they're moving away from the Democrat Party. Um, we're gonna probably have to go through some of the stuff pretty quickly, but we're running out of time.
Yeah.
The longest filibuster in American history was 57 days, and that occurred in 1964 when Democrats, just keep that in mind, Democrats attempted to block the Civil Rights Act from passing.
Mhm.
And so, so Black people are waking up, and now they're realizing
Unfortunately, it's taken a lot of them 60 years.
and they're all doing some of the same thing as waking up going, wow, how did I not see this before? I see it now, so I'm changing. So
Well, but it's taking a lot more than them 60 years. I mean, it's taken the American people as a
Yeah.
whole
yes,
Yeah.
just a huge amount of time to wake up.
and I think it was Lyndon Johnson who said, I will have Black Americans voting Democrat for the next 100 years. That's what he said in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The power of brainwashing, the
Mhm.
power of the psyop.
And so now they're realizing that it was Republicans who were fighting for the Civil Rights Act, and it was because of Republicans that it passed. And the education system has been infiltrated by the deep state, and they're lying to students. In fact, they've even modified education textbooks to lie to students about American history. That is despicable, but that is what is happening. That's why you've got so many messed up kids. Um, and if students were to wake up, they would they'd realize they're lied to and brainwashed. Some of them have, but many of them are not.
Fortunately, more and more people are going to homeschooling, and I think it needs to, because if you think about it, it's kind of insane for us. We as parents, we send our kids to what, six, 16 years of indoctrination. And then we wonder why people are, kids are, do come out and have no common sense
Right.
because they've been indoctrinated.
Well, and then you've got um, voters. The only voters that are remaining in the Democrat Party are the psychotic and deranged liberals. That's it. Because the moderates are all saying, forget it, I'm done. I am done. You're not for American people. I'm done. So those liberals are in the minority now, which is really sad. They know they're losing. They know that their leaders have abandoned them. They've abandoned all of us, and we don't need them to run this country. We need to get somebody else in there. So that's why the midterms are so important. Um, in the 1990s, moderate Democrats fought hard to remove illegal aliens, but now they are fighting hard to keep them because they need them to vote.
It's really weird to listen to the Chuck Schumers and the Hillary Clintons back there in the 90s
Yeah,
talk about it.
right.
You would think they were right
And
wing.
not only them, but Obama.
Yeah, Obama.
Yeah,
Pretty much
and
all of them.
right. And
Well, I'll tell you what, if we lose the midterms, the last, impeachment or two impeachments are going to look like a walk in the park compared to what we will see.
I know. That's why it's so important. All of you who are out there, whether you know it or not, you need to vote. You need to get involved somehow or other. Do something. Speak out. Don't
'Cause-
sit
'cause-
back.
Because this isn't about left or right anymore. This isn't about Trump.
No,
This
it's
isn't
not.
about Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi or whoever. This is literally about saving our republic.
Right. It
And
is.
it doesn't just stretch or stay confined within our country either. This will spread around the world.
Yes, and you're right, John, because during 2020, when I got banned it
Twitter.
was Twitter. It's now X, but when I got banned, I was talking to somebody from Australia. I've talked about this in a previous podcast, who was like, "If you guys fall, we will fall." And we have a person from a friend from Australia who is very supportive of us too, and we really appreciate. Well, we appreciate everybody from every country who's out there, who's following us, and a lot of that has to do with Darren's his
Of Trimmer
short
wisdom.
short videos that he puts out there on Hoof Trimmer Wisdom. A lot of people have come over to ours from that, and so we thank you for that.
Oh,
Darren, because-
thanks.
yeah, no, we do because but those people they are and they appreciate what we're talking about. They really do, and so what Democrats, they're needing to replace the vast number of voters who are leaving the Democrat Party. And that's why they're fighting so hard to hang on to illegals and give them everything so they'll vote Democrat.
I guess I'll have as my parting shot here that I hope people give a little bit of thought to. I mean, Sonny, John, they're talking about how important it is to get out and vote and whatnot. But we are going to see, because after this speech, I think it is obvious that a lot of Democrats are seeing, they were able to see what their leadership is doing. So as they see more of their base walking away from them, we're also going to see
More chaos.
we're going to see more chaos, but we're going to see, because there is big money, the George Soroses of the world, there's big money that is putting a lot of money and a lot of effort into, I hate to keep saying the word psyop now that I said it, but It's exactly what is going on. They're going to hit people extremely hard through the psychological
Warfare.
warfare.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. They've really, really destroyed a lot of people who you can see with their pink and orange and green and
Yeah.
color hair and their uh, piercings all over their face. Like you can't hardly see their beautiful faces anymore because they're just they're it's it's and have whatever you want. I don't care, but it does show a lot of about a person's personality is when you can't even see their face anymore because there's tattoos or you know
They're destroying their
they're
face.
destroying their face because they're so unhappy with themselves they have to add something and that's fine um, because I have family members who like to have some piercings on their face but they're um,
Discreet.
they're discreet and they're actually not just like their whole face covered. Um, but so I don't care. Have whatever you want, but just know that if you get to the point where uh, you you can't see your face anymore, people can't see your face. All they see is what you are projecting, and that's it.
I heard it. I heard another really interesting thought the other day that I hadn't even thought about before. That a lot of these real power people, like the George Soroses and the Bill Gates, some of these that are really into controlling the world through their visions, they're getting older, and they're wanting. So the older they get, the more desperate they get to see the changes that they want to see. And so they're hitting harder, they're giving more money, they're throwing
And
more at
and
us.
George Soros's son has picked up and he's going with it. So
Sure,
we
but
can't
George Soros is still going to want to see it.
yeah, I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put some links on there to we've watched just in the past week. So we've watched a ton of Black Americans responding. And we'll put some of those links to their TikTok, YouTube, X, whatever videos out there. You guys can see for yourself what's going on. And the people who are leaving, who are talking about this, these are not people who have been gone for a long time. Some of them may have, but but anyway, um, just keep in mind we are here to try to just bring clarity to what happened in the past week, month, or whatever it's been since our last. And the thing that we always say: keep it real,
Keep it authentic.
authentic.
So anyway,
Absolutely.
thanks much for watching, everyone.
Anything you want to add really quick before we go, John?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Um,
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching, and hopefully we've reached a few more people. And please like, share, and comment. Anything.
Follow.
We really follow us. Yes, please, please do. We really do appreciate all of our followers. So please remember that. Okay. Thank you.
Bye.